Welcome back to the Fear and Beer podcast,
where we discuss all things Halloween Horror Nights, horror movies, and just a little bit of beer.
So kill the lights, grab a cold one, and join us as we dive into this mad world we love.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
And I'm Jamie.
Like scary movies.
Uh-huh.
Here's Johnny.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You miss me.
Aren't you drinking?
I never drink. Why?
And as a reminder to all listening, if you want to help us to continue growing as a podcast, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whichever streaming platform you use.
To stay up to date with us and all of our episodes, be sure to follow all of our socials. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Fear and Beer Pod.
Feel free to reach out to us. We love to interact with you all.
14 days, 2 whole weeks until we are back in the fog at Halloween Horror Nights. We are quickly approaching that September 1st date, and we could not be more excited. The long pauses for excitement. All right, so let's get into things. We are going to have a little bit of a shorter episode today because, if you are not aware, we are crazy. We are doing, again, we did this last year and we figured, what the hell? We already did it. The formula's there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's do it again. We are going to do 8 days in a row. No, 7 days in a row, 8 podcasts. So starting next Friday, we will be putting out an episode every single day until Halloween Horror Nights. So 1 week until HHN, you're going to get an episode on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday will be our final episode, thus completing our Podathon and leading you right into the greatest event in the world, Halloween Horror Nights. So with that being said, we are saving a lot of our ideas for those episodes and kind of stringing it out because there's a lot of stuff. We could be doing a hype list, but we're going to be doing that during our Podathon. We could do hot takes. We could do all kinds of stuff, but we're saving all that stuff for the Podathon. So today we figured, let's hear from the people. Let's get some call-ins. I've been asking all week for some call-ins and y'all called in. So we should have enough to respond to, and we are just going to kind of go from there. So let's get into
what he's saying is y'all did the work for us this week, so thank you.
Thank God.
We don't actually have to try very hard this episode, so
no,
thank you.
It's just a read and respond. So let's get into beers first and foremost. I think we should tap into that. And if you have been following our Instagram or Twitter, which you should be if you're not, stumbled across the icon of fall beers. Shipyard Pumpkinhead is in the area. Code Orange. Tell your friend. I already cracked a bunch of these open. I'm going to crack another one.
Jealous I am.
Oh,
I'm over
God,
here.
it's so good.
I'm over here just crying in my silver bullet. It's not fair. I want
the best part is these things are not like craft beer prices.
Yeah, they're not like
we're not
pack. Right. We're not paying.
Oh God, it's
I don't know,
good.
gold leaf prices for copper wire. So that's a stupid analogy. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
Shipyard's good shit.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's craft beer. Don't get get it twisted, everybody. It's got it on the label. It's a craft beer.
Yeah,
it's not mass market, but it is probably the greatest pumpkin flavored beer ever. It is what turned me into a pumpkin bitch. So I am not ashamed to say it whatsoever. All other yam beers bow to the master that is Pumpkinhead. Shipyard, if you're listening, even though I know you're not, sponsor us, please. I need pumpkin beer in my life. But yeah, I'm jealous. So super jealous. And I just sat here and long-winded talked for about 5 minutes. I never, about it, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I plan on having it when we record our, not to break the magic, but when we record our marathon of podcast episodes, I plan on having Shipyard the entire time. So
oh yeah, I'll have that. Fine. I'll have our fridge stocked up for us, so we are revved up and ready to go. But Shipyard Pumpkinhead, you know the deal. Cinnamon smell, great little yam cinnamon taste. Oh, it is just
so good.
The pinnacle of pumpkin beers. If you think otherwise, I'm sorry.
You're wrong.
I will have to politely disagree.
Fear and Beer says you're wrong.
You are very wrong.
So
Jamie,
wrong.
what are you drinking in there?
So something I've had before that I actually really liked, that when we went shopping the other day for some beers, I had to get again. It's the local legend cider from Schilling Cidery. Yeah.
That's the Yeti one, right?
The Yeti one, exactly. Yep.
Nice. All right. We got the beers out of the way. So quickly, we'll run down some park updates, some stuff that's kind of been popping up for us. The Vamp Scare Zone has some new instruments. I saw like keyboards and stuff on the stage. There's these cool colored floral barrels. The bikes and bike helmets now have stickers. I think it says Blood Slayers, but it looks like that might be the gang of vampires in that zone. So we're continuously growing in that area and just bringing it to life that much more. The Shipyard 32, which somebody pointed out on Twitter, and I had the biggest God, I'm an idiot moment. Shipyard 32. It took me until reading that to realize why it was called 32. I had not put it together that it was HHN 32, and I was very that's a weird number. Why did I just went with it? I was like, yeah, Shipyard 32, whatever, that's fine.
What a trick.
Never once did I put 2 and 2 together. I'm an idiot. Anybody else fall for that, or you guys picked it up right away?
I actually did see that the other day, and I feel like I was like, maybe I kind of realized it, and I didn't really take it into too much consideration, but I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It never even occurred to me. I didn't think about it that hard.
No,
like 32. That works. Okay.
Yep.
And then now you just said it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's called, first of all, getting old. That's part of it. So, cut us some slack. Let's just put it that way. I know some of you all are still spring chickens, but not all of us are spring chickens anymore. So we kind of just lose sight of things. Funny story. Last week, I took a half day on Wednesday, and I worked till about 3:30 in the afternoon before I realized, hey, you took a half day. So I gave the company back 2 hours. So, yeah, that happens.
That's how it works.
It's called getting old, and it sucks. Yeah. But no, it makes perfect sense why they would call it Shipyard 32. Yep. It's a little weird, to be honest with you. It's a weird name. I would have just called it something else, like Shipyard something else, or just Shipyard.
Yeah, or the docks or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I understand throwing in the 32 to kind of reference the year and in which Hornites it is, but it's not like it's a anniversary year or there's really no significance to the number other than the fact that it's the 32nd Halloween Horror Nights. But that's just my own opinion on it. I don't think it's a big deal. It's not going to throw it off or make it weird for me or anything like that. It's just not a name I would go with.
No. There have been more signs posted up in there. There is a little crane added above a little smashed box of sorts. So more props are making their way in there. The jungle zone, there's a lot more greenery. They've added torches. So it seems like there's a little stage out in front, kind of the same, not same setup as Terra Crentis, but similar thing where there's a little stage to the right and you have to walk past them. So I'm not sure exactly who or what will be up there, but it does seem like there will be something directing your attention to that area. And the Oddfellow symbol has kind of made its way into all the zones, just sporadically hidden on different things, painted, whatever. And then lastly, the food booths have been seeing a lot of improvements. A lot of stuff is popping up. You have The Last of Us 1, you have Chucky, Surfer Boy, 70s, you have The Cabin, you have all stuff popping up, but they also have started to theme up Sting Alley for Last of Us. So much like last year when we had the Meats Locker, it seems like we will have a similar effect in that it is going to be themed after The Last of Us in that little area this year.
I love it.
So not completely losing that, which is nice because I really liked that as an addition to last year's event. I thought that added a decent amount of theming and just gave us a nice little extra space of
definitely
more HHN activities versus just dead park space. But that's really it for all the updates that I've seen. I haven't been to the park in the last week or so. These are all just from seeing pictures. So, I mean, we're just getting close. It's exciting. It's we're going to see stuff every day at this point, so it's hard to really keep track of everything that happens, but we are slowly but surely getting there.
I kind of want to
So
try and
let's
go
get
the night before.
into
Sorry.
our call-ins. So let's see. We can pull this up real quick. I'm going to pull these up while you guys, if you have anything about the food booths or anything like that, feel free, because this is your time.
I think he means we can talk while he's off getting ready. Yeah, I haven't been at the theme parks probably in a couple of weeks now, maybe even a little bit more than that. But I haven't seen any of the new props go up yet. I know that they go up pretty quick, but I am kind of excited to see what they do differently with the food, booths, and if they're all going to be in the same area or if they're going to move them a little bit. I think the Scream Alley worked really well last year, so that makes sense to kind of put something else back there. But I feel like maybe, I don't know if opening up one additional spot or not would make a whole lot of sense or not. But it looks like, well, as I'm just rambling here, it sounds like we got a recording ready to go. So
We are
Nick,
good.
I'll put it over to you.
Matt again. So Blizzrock is ice and Pyrock is fire. Which one of you guys is fear and which one is beer?
All right, so call back from Matt. Called in last week, I think it was. The old Blizzrock and Pyrock. We had
that's a good
had
question.
to jump in on that. So who is the fear and who is the beer? I mean, I think I'm not to speak for you, but I think when we started this out, it was more like I kind of viewed myself as the fear because I had more of the HHN stuff and you had more of that beer background, but it's really blended at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we had to pick, I would probably go with beer still. I think I'm still like the beer guy. I'm not a genius in by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know, some things about beer. I've been doing craft beer for a while. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we technically have to have a fear and beer because there's three of us now. So I guess I could just be the and to your fear and her beer, or vice versa. If you really wanted to do it that way. I'm the glue that holds us together, as I say, with a completely straight face and not any hints of sarcasm at all. Because I'm not a sarcastic person, aren't I? Jamie, you're back. I was kind of rambling all by myself there the last time, and I was like waiting for you to kind of like respond to me, and you were like
I was
super
waiting
silent.
for a minute. I know, I was waiting for a minute for you guys to finish. I was like, shit, sorry, my laptop's still being a little bit of technical difficulties, guys, but I'm back.
It's okay. Just say it. Your laptop's an asshole. That's what it is. It's what it is. Just a massive asshole. That's what laptops do. Technology sucks in the most awful ways because, it works great for forever, and then one day it just goes, you know what? I'm done. I'm done being your servant.
It's held on for pretty long, though. I gotta admit.
Ask Nick about his old Mac, the one computer that we had for this whole shebang-a-bang, for the first year of doing the podcast. Like that thing held together, and then just decided one day it was like, I'm done. I've thought too much. This is over with. So we're gonna do something else. But looks like we're ready for the next recording, right? No, maybe not.
No.
Okay.
Maybe
all right.
not.
So I looked. I was prepared for it. I was prepared. I don't have. If you can't tell, listeners, we're not in the same room. We haven't been for a while.
We're trying a new technique here.
So this is a little bit harder to. There we go. We good? Send it over to you.
I heard it.
Maybe not. Okay. Well,
we
are definitely going to figure out a better way to do this at some point. But
hello, beer pod,
there we are.
And fans. My name's Alex, aka Yukon Trapper. You remember me as the guy who took a Yeti arm through the chest or the chainsaw wielding bearded lady in Springfield? First off, I just want to say I'm a big fan of the show and some of the creative ways you guys find to generate content throughout the entire year and not just for announcements and spec maps. Secondly, I wanted to ask everyone what your thoughts were on outside houses, i.e. Jungle of Doom, HHN 13. Do you think we'll ever see another outside house or maybe even another 3D house at HAN Orlando? let me know. Thank you guys for the show and keeping me entertained at work.
All right.
Yeah,
So
thank
I'm
you,
definitely going
Alan.
to find a new way to play these messages because that was, I just couldn't.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind.
That's okay. We can get going. I don't mind talking.
Nick, I can vamp. And in honor of Vamp
Exactly.
69, I'm the best vamper there is. It's going to be random shit, and I'm just going to ramble about nothing, but I will keep it from being dead air. His name was Alan? Is that what he
Alex.
said? Alex, sorry.
Alex, so he
I'm
was
deaf,
actually in
dude.
the Yeti house and the Texas Chainsaw
Yeah,
house. That's cool.
sick.
That's super
so
cool.
that's
I've seen
really
him on
cool that we
Twitter.
have some scare actors and listening to us. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a fan, Alex. You are the man for scaring me every year. So when he says outside house, he literally means like a house outside, right?
So yeah, so Jungle of Doom.
Jungle of
This was
Doom.
over at Islands of Adventure, and that was, I think, like the Jurassic Park themed house, but it was outside technically. So it would just, like, if it was raining, it'd be fucking miserable. And they did that in the past. I think that's dead. I don't think there's a
Yeah,
especially
that
being
would
in
be
hurricane season. It's
tough to pull off. I mean, it's one thing when you're doing that in like a climate like the northeast in the fall. Like, I mean, obviously, the two of us. No offense, Jamie. The two of us being from New England, obviously Jamie's from Florida, but I think knowing the temperament, the climate there in the fall is usually not too bad. So a lot of those outdoor attractions tend to be outside, literally outdoors. I feel like it's got to be tough to make that work here in Florida, just judging by how the weather is, especially considering the fact that hurricanes apparently, they do happen. So I don't know if I don't know if we'll see another outdoor house ever again. They'd be cool. I've never done a Horror Nights house outside. Obviously, it was, I think he said like HHN 13 or 18 or whatever he said it was.
yeah, 13
Yeah, it was 2003. I wish I was able to go that year. I was a little too young.
Yeah, so that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel old. But yeah, maybe, but I doubt it. I think we'd more apt to see what was the other thing he said? I'm sorry.
A 3D house.
The 3D houses.
I think a 3D house is obviously a lot easier to pull off. So I could see that happening again at some point.
I love 3D houses personally.
Yeah, they
I don't
haven't
hate them.
gotten good
I think they're
reception.
As long as it's not clown related, because I feel like every 3D house I've ever done is
Well,
clown
the last
related.
one was, I think it was like the chance.
Exactly.
Chance,
Like,
no
I don't know
chance in
what
hell
it
3D.
is. I don't know what
Yes.
it is about it, but everyone just feels like, all right, so 3D clowns, and like it's all can ever be is clowns. Like there's
I love that
ways to do
cliche.
3D and not have it be about clowns. And I don't hate clowns. I think clowns are a really good horror tool. I think they work well for horror. But it's tried and it's just done over and over again. I'd rather them do something different or unique. Do me an alien house, like an alien type house with 3D effects. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
curious
that's
if they
overdone.
can,
I don't know.
if they can pull off the 3D now. I mean, they pull out parks. I mean, the rides at 3D with handing out that many glasses. So I don't see why they wouldn't be
I think
able
they could
to. I
find a
think
way
we just
to
need to
do
find
it.
the right
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see if I can queue up this one
All
a
right,
little bit
so-
easier.
So yeah, clowns.
This is our time to shine.
So clowns, Jamie. How do you feel about clowns?
I personally like
your
the
podcast. It's Kim
Oh.
Leslie calling. So I just saw your Instagram post, and I was like, fine, let me just call. Here are my thoughts on this year's HHN. And it's going to be an unpopular one, so I'm very sorry about that in advance. I'm a huge HHN fan. I love HHN. I love the lore. I love the history. I love everything. But I got to be honest. It's great theming that Dr. Oddfellow is through everything, and I think that's a really cool concept. But as someone who really has not been in a deep dive of Dr. Oddfellow, I feel a little left out. And I feel like at least the first couple of nights, I'm going to be like, I don't know. So I guess I'll go ahead and do more deep dive. I am hoping for a random Jack sighting, because I feel like it's only fair if you have Dr. Oddfellow that you got to have some Jack. Would be super cool to see him again in the line queues, because that was so much fun. But I don't know, man. But super, super excited for The Last of Us. Super excited for Stranger Things 4. All of the rest sounds amazing. And I just really hope that none of us takes me back to some of the lackluster houses from last year. That's all. Super excited about the Vamp Scare Zone as well. So hopefully I'll get to see you guys in the fog.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Kim. So, yeah,
Her name is Kim. Sorry, I missed her name.
Yeah. So the concern with Oddfellow, I can see from an outside perspective, I can see that because we also had to do our own little deep dive history on it. We did a episode on his history 3 weeks ago or so at that point. But I guess a quick little rundown of Dr. Oddfellow to catch you up to speed is back in the backstory of Jack the Clown. Jack the Clown, before he was what he is, he went and worked for Dr. Oddfellow at his circus. Jack was doing his thing and killing kids or whatever. And then he decided to steal the cane of souls from Dr. Oddfellow, and he killed him. And that was up until this year, that was the last we had ever heard of him. That was the first and last that we've ever heard of him. So all this new lore wasn't really existent up until recently. But come to find out, Dr. Oddfellow is this, immortal being. And when when Oddfellow killed Jack, or the other way around, either way, their blood combined, and they both became immortal on the same night. So I'm sure we will get some sort of nod to Jack. I don't know if we will physically get him, but I think we will get instances of Jack in the house. But Jamie, you kind of ran that deep dive episode. So is there anything else that's just a quick little bring people up to speed on Oddfellow?
You pretty much covered all of it, essentially. I would like to think that we get, just because Jack does play a big role, I don't think that we're going to get himself personally. I don't think he'll be there, but I think how you were saying, I think we might get little odes to him in the house or something, which would be really cool, because I'm a big Jack fan too, so I would like to see him, but don't want to get my hopes up too high. But you kind of nailed everything, pretty much.
Yeah. So Kim, don't feel like you're left out, because guess what? I think a lot of us share
people will feel like that.
The same opinion that you do, because I know shit all about Dr. Oddfellow, and about all I know is from what Jamie gave to us on that episode we did, and what Nick just said right there. So I will be right along there with I'll be right there along with you, not really knowing anything that's going on, but I'm excited to kind of learn more about him. I think we'll definitely get a lot of backstory throughout the various scare zones, and even some of the houses will have some of his, I think, backstory kind of mixed in, stuff we'll have to find and pick out. I do agree with Jamie. I don't think there will be Jack in person. We won't have Jack in the flesh, but he will definitely be referenced a lot, just because of how closely tied he is to that character. So yeah. But I am excited to learn more about it. So I think that the best way I look at it, the way how I go into a lot of these years, because I don't know much about HHN history other than what they tell me. I just kind of go in with a blind eye, and I try to pick up as much as I can and just learn the stories as best as they're given to us. Plus, they have the backstory podcasts too that they do, Universal themselves, that kind of gives a little bit more information on the various houses and scare zones too, I believe. So they're definitely worth checking out if you haven't.
They're actually really good. They're quick little episodes too.
And without even knowing completely Oddfellow's history, the real fun thing that I found is just this expansion upon history that we're going to get. So even if we don't know much about Oddfellow, because we really don't, other than the stuff that they've just put out recently.
There's not a whole lot that they've put out in the past, right?
No. So it's still fairly vague, but I do enjoy them taking a character that was mentioned in history and indulging us into it and being okay, this is actually a pretty prominent figure. We just didn't really make that story happen at the time, but now let's dive into it a little bit. So I'm going to queue up this next one. We'll see how quickly we can whip this one out.
It's pretty ironic. We were talking about clowns, and then we get the call from Kim asking about Dr. Oddfellow and Jack. It's kind of, it's almost like we planned that, but we didn't. But we didn't plan it.
But we didn't.
There's no planning. Planning. This is Fear and Beer. We don't plan shit. What are we talking about?
Hey, Fear and Beer Podcast. This is Ray from Sam and Ray on YouTube.
What's up, Ray?
The thing that we are most excited for this year has got to be Stranger Things Season 4. When it came out last year, it was a cultural phenomenon. I know the music alone is going to be great.
Yeah.
The Universal original that we're most excited for is going to be Yeti Campground Kills. Love a good classic campground murder situation. It's going to be good. What we're unsure about is going to be The Exorcist Believer. The movie's not even out yet, so not really sure how that's going to go. Another thing I'm slightly concerned about is going to be overarching theme of Dr. Oddfellow. Excited to see how they do it, but it seems like it's going to be kind of a reach in some areas. Hopefully they tie it together. I know Universal will. But we will look forward to seeing you guys at the event, and we are so excited for HHN 32.
All right. So two
Yes, sir.
back-to-back, pretty much going over the same thing where it does seem like a reach at some zones, right? With this whole Dr. Oddfellow. It's fun that it's connected, but it is a little bit of a reach in certain areas. Like,
Yeah, it does.
Vamp 69, like why does that have to tie into? Well, it has to because we said it was going to.
Feels like there's a little bit of what do you call it? Retconning in a way.
Yeah.
I think at the same time, my guess is that somebody said, "Hey, why don't we do another icon, or what we consider icons these days, and kind of give him his own event? Who will we do?" And then somebody was like, "Hey, we have this story of Jack being created. Maybe we do the story of the guy that created Jack." And they had to find a way to kind of fit him into the existing scare zones they'd already kind of come up with. Because it does feel like it's like they're ham-fisting him a little bit into some of them. I don't think it hurts it really in any way, because it's not anything drastic. But like the jungle one, for example, I feel like that was something that they had an idea for already, and they were like, how can we include this person into this scare zone? Because none of them really feel like they were designed specifically around Dr. Oddfellow. It feels like, hey, here's a jungle with creatures that were caused by Dr. Oddfellow.
Shoehorned in.
Hey, here's a music festival full of vampires caused by Dr. Oddfellow. You know what I'm saying? It feels kind of like they were just like, let's tack him on. And I don't think it'll be a massively big deal. I think it'll work well. Because I think his name was Bray, right? I think like he was saying,
Ray, I think it was.
Is it Ray? Sorry, Bray.
I believe so, yeah.
Either way, I rhymed. I think like he said, he's right. Where Universal will find a way to tie it in and make it work. They're really good at that. Like that's what they make their money on. So I wouldn't worry too much about it not making a whole lot of sense, but it will feel a little tacked on, just a little bit, just a tiny bit, but not enough to make it a bad or anything like that.
Yeah, no. And let's see, Stranger Things 4 and Yeti, I think those are on top of most people's lists, at least in the first half of most people's lists.
Definitely,
including ours.
Yeah,
definitely. Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Stranger Things is probably the most anticipated IP of the event, so I don't see why not.
And then concerns, obviously, The Exorcist. We've voiced our concerns with that as well. I mean,
share the same ones.
I just don't. I feel
odd.
like you could have picked literally anything else, and I would have been more excited. It's. I don't think it's a surprise to say that's pretty much at the bottom of everybody's list right now. So let's get this next one all queued up.
So, exorcisms. What's those things about?
My name is Joseph Fleming. On Twitter, I'm TimeLord1124. What I'm most excited about with Halloween Horror Nights 32, I just think this is an awesome lineup. In my opinion, I feel like we haven't seen a lineup this awesome since Halloween Horror Nights. In 2017, Halloween Horror Nights 27. So I'm excited for all the houses. I'm excited for The Last of Us, Universal Monsters Unmasked, Chucky Ultimate Kill Count, and I'm a little bit also excited for The Exorcist. Good to see that be making a return to the event. So, as always, excited to see all the awesome Halloween Horror Nights fans and try the awesome food, get a blinky cup, and walk through the scare zones. So, with all that being said, have an awesome Halloween Horror Nights, everybody, and can't wait to see you all in the fog.
All right. So just as we were talking about how we're not excited about The Exorcist, we got Joe who's excited about The Exorcist.
Hey, I mean, there's going to be a house for everybody, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's what the event's about.
Yeah, and as I've stated before, we did kind of like we went through the map a little bit, and then the release when they announced everything. I still think that this Exorcist house, a lot of people are worried that, hey, how is it going to tie into a movie that hasn't been released? And I'm still resting on the laurels that I think it's going to be. It's going to have very little to do with the movie itself. It's going to tie into the movie, but not in a way that spoils anything. It'll be kind of be like, hey, here's a few things that will kind of look like it's being referenced in the movie, if that makes any sense. So when you watch the movie, you're going to go, oh, I learned about that in the haunted house. Like, that's pretty cool. They tied that in.
Yeah, I could see it also playing sort of like how we got Chainsaw 2 years ago, where it's like a little bit of one, a little bit of two.
Right.
I could see like a scene or two to kick off the house being just the original Exorcist, and then just the tail end of the house is kind of what's in the trailer. You got the two girls that have gone missing, and now they're possessed, and I could see them blending the movies together
for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I totally. Oops, sorry, Jamie. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Go ahead, James. It's okay.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I just think that there's reasons why people are excited for it, and I totally think they're like not like they're valid reasons to be excited for the house. I just think that there are reasons why we're worried about it, but I do think that there's a really good chance that they're going to do something good with it.
As long as I get that theme music bumping, I'm good.
Oh yeah,
right. And I was just going to say, too, I think it's kind of fun to go in an IP blind as well and kind of not really knowing what's going to be in it. Because usually for an IP, you normally have seen it or at least heard of it. So you kind of know what's going to be going on. So I think that's a nice aspect of it, though, too. But
no, I agree.
I am really interested to see what they do with this. If they're going to bring back any, like you were saying, Nick, if they're going to bring back some of the different movies, kind of how they did with Texas Chainsaw and stuff like that, that'd be kind of cool. I guess they're definitely going to have, I feel like, some of those maybe iconic scenes from the original. Maybe not, but at least something, I would hope.
I think you have to at some point. I think you got to fill a little bit of the house that way.
I think we're gonna get, like I said, I think we're gonna get backstory almost to the new movie, and some of that will play into like the older scenes from the more iconic scenes from that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do think this is a really strong year too. I agree with you on that. This year has a really good lineup, I feel like, with everything going on. I feel like it's a nice mesh of everything.
Yeah, it's growing on me. I was worried about it when we first kind of saw the specs.
Spec Map 1?
I know, me too.
I was ready to be like, I'm not sure I want to be on the podcast anymore, everybody. Like, that's how like I was like,
we're going to take a year hiatus.
It's been nice knowing you guys.
and then the it since the announcement,
it really turned around.
It really has grown on me quite a bit. I mean, obviously, there's still one house I'm not super excited for, but either way,
I don't know what one you're talking about.
I was gonna say what?
I know rhymes with ragged.
Is it Stranger Things?
yeah.
Fuck you, 11.
But thanks for that. Thanks for that, Colin. Because I think a lot of us just need that. Like, we just need to be back there. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much talking going on, but it's like, can we just get back to the event? Can we be there opening night for Stay and Scream and just get drinking a pumpkin beer and ready to hit the ground running?
Just huffing that fog like it's off an exhaust pipe.
Oh my god, we're gonna be huffing that shit like I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get myself in trouble. But you know what I'm getting at.
It's like shoving the leaf blower in your face. Like
it's like no. To be frank, it's like going to Disney World and getting on that those water rides and huffing that bromine smell or bromine, whatever the hell you call it. You just get that smell and you're like back in grandma's house, like that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's good.
All right, I love this next one for us.
So yeah, smells.
What the hell is bromine?
Bromine. It's this.
Hello.
I'm not.
My name is Adam Lind. I'm a diehard Halloween Horror Nights fan, and I'm calling to respond to the Instagram prompts about the things I'm most excited for this year's Halloween Horror Nights. Look, a couple of the Stranger Things house looks great. The Last of Us, I'm not as enthusiastic about, just because nothing personal against fans of that. It's just I've never played that series, but I'll still be willing to go to the house and see what that's like. And I like a lot of the ideas for the original houses this year, like Yeti, Campground Kills.
that can have a lot of potential for some great environments and some great creature effects. Plus, it can make for a good scary/funny house for the year. But what I'm most excited for is how the original house is probably the darkest deal. I just think it's an incredibly creepy premise. I can imagine that the music for it will be top notch. And to top it all off, although they don't spell out, it's based on the real life urban legend of blues singer Robert Johnson. So, yeah, I'll be very much looking forward to going through the darkest deal and learning Pine Straw Spruce's fate.
The old Pine Straw.
All right, that's not all for now. See you at Halloween Horror Nights. Bye-bye.
Good old Pine Straw.
Nice. It's so nice hearing other people's perspectives on their favorite stuff. I wouldn't think that someone would be super excited for that, or I didn't know the original backstory about who it was about. That was pretty cool.
I was just gonna say it's really cool that we're getting a lot of different, answers. You would think that we're just gonna get a bunch of calls about Stranger Things. You know what I mean? But It's nice that we're actually getting some different. I'm super excited about Darkest Deal, or super excited about this one or that one, and it's actually different houses, and we're getting really good reasons for why. I agree. I think that house is going to be it. I think, as I stated last time we spoke about the announcements, it's going to be hit or miss for me. It's either going to hit and be awesome, or it's just going to miss. So it's definitely going to have to live up to some of my expectations for it. But I think there's a really good chance that it could very well be that big surprise, the biggest surprise of the year type of situation. So yeah, that's really cool. That we're getting different opinions and different houses rather than just the same one.
Yeah, and the Last of Us, don't feel left out if you haven't played the game
at all.
I've played some of it, but again, I guess I'll bring Descendants of Destruction in on two different talking points, being that it's sort of Descendants-ish, where it's that, overrun world. It's a kind of apocalyptic. It's a fungus style zombie, and that's sort of what we saw at the end of Descendants, where as you travel into the depths of the Earth's core, people have started to mutate it into these floral and fungus states. But that's where that kind of has a similar feel to that. But then I feel like Darkest Deal is going to be this year's Descendants for me, where I'm just I don't know much about it. I know the basis of the story, but other than that, I don't have much expectations already set up for it. So it's either going to be, jump up my rankings the most because I just don't know where to gauge it, or it's going to kind of stay at that bottom part. And I'm excited for it, but that and Blood Moon, I'm kind of indifferent about because I know the least amount of those two houses. So I'm really excited to kind of get in there and see what we're working with. But yeah, there's so many different favorites, which is really cool, which I'm really excited for that we got on these calls. So let me queue up that next one for us.
So to answer your question, Jamie, bromine, really quick, bromine is the chemical that Disney uses to clean their pools rather than chlorine.
Okay.
So that, sorry, let me rephrase that. Not pools, as far as I know, but the ride water. So Splash Mountain, or Small World, or Pirates, or whatever it might be. All that. So when you get on those rides and you get that weird smell, that's the bromine.
Chemically a little bit.
Yeah, that's the bromine they use to clean the water. I'm 100% honest. I'm not just coming up with random bullshit. That's exactly what it is.
I was genuinely curious.
Yeah, but no, that's what bromine is. If anyone that didn't know what I was talking about, that's what I was talking about. It's that smell you get.
Hey everyone, this is Kaylee, also known as Haunted Hunty on Instagram. I'm really looking forward to September 1st because not only is it opening weekend, but it's also my birthday. I can't wait to hang with all my friends in the fog, get some Blinky cups, and drink some festive beers. I'm most looking forward to the Oddfellow house after Jamie's backstory, and I can't wait to see what Universal does with it. See everybody in the fog. Bye!
Woo! Again,
Let's go, party time.
Another call in a row where it's another different favorite house.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how widespread that these are, because there's really not a lot of similarities amongst these houses. I mean, you have your strong IPs, which are very different. Stranger Things, very different than Last of Us, very different than Chucky, very different from The Exorcist Believer. And then with these originals, you have your fantasy with dragons, you have your music style with Darkest Deal, you have colonial cults, you got a campground, you got a circus. Everything is very, very
roller
different.
coaster.
Yeah,
Something
a roller
for
coaster.
everyone.
And that's why it's so successful, because somebody can attach to something different every time.
Yeah,
And yes, we'll be there celebrating Kaylee's birthday. Woo, woo.
Yes, woo, buddy.
Blinky Cups.
Yeah. So
I'm excited for the Dr. Oddfellow house, though, too. I
roller
really am.
Mm-hmm. So about those roller coasters. But yeah,
the
let's
last
get
one.
this. No, we got two more. Let
Two
me
more?
get these other ones queued
let's
up.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm excited to try I'm actually going to probably give the drinks a chance this year. I know we really didn't talk much about the food yet, but
I always like getting the mixed drinks. You guys
I don't know
should.
about you, Jamie, but I definitely think I'm going to try at least one or two of the mixed drinks rather than just the beer. Trying to expand my horizons a little bit. This is coming from someone who's never had a margarita in his life. So definitely.
I feel like I never try the beers very much, though.
Definitely looking to try branch out a little bit, try some new things in my life. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure. We may have lost Jamie after I've been talking.
Nick, Jamie, Seamus. This is fellow masshole Mike from America's Hometown Horror Podcast up in
Let's
Plymouth.
go.
Just wanted to say that I really enjoy your show. Even though I don't get down to Halloween Horror Nights as much as I would like to, I still follow the topic very closely, and you guys are my favorite show to listen to about that whole topic. So, a couple quick questions for you. First and foremost, Universal has done a pretty good job over the last, I'd say, several years of taking like a classic horror property, whether it's like Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, Poltergeist, and turning those into some pretty cool haunted houses. Do you guys have a classic horror movie that you would like to see adapted into a house like that has not been yet? My personal pick would be The Thing. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. And then last but certainly not least, of course, because you guys are from Massachusetts, back in New England, you guys missed and wish you'd get back to again. Keep up the good work, guys. Have a good one.
All right. So the last little part kind of cut out. So we'll make guesses on what was said then.
Yeah,
so
I think was he
something from Massachusetts we miss. So
like
I don't know
a
if that's
haunted thing or just
maybe
like
haunts or brews.
just shit.
Maybe breweries.
I mean,
we get to make up our own
guys,
question,
don't
I
worry.
guess.
hey, you hear Jamie?
We're back. We're back. I thought I cut out too. I was
We're
like,
back.
dang,
We're back in business.
I was going to say, I'm also excited for the beers and the cocktail, Seamus. Don't worry.
All right, cool. I can definitely tell when I'm talking to myself because, like,
I know. I
wait
was
a
like,
second,
shit,
and then
shit.
like, all right, let me keep going. No, but hey, thanks for the call, Mike. Is that what his name was?
Mike, yeah.
Sorry, Mike
From
Massachusetts,
Hometown Horror
New England,
Podcast.
Yeah, New England represent. That's a good question though. Classic movie that hasn't been done yet.
Oh, I have one already.
Well, no, you can start. You can start.
No,
Just want to
you go
clarify. So
ahead.
he said the Thing because they've done the 2011 thing, right? They haven't
Yeah,
done
so
the
they
original
haven't
thing.
adapted an original The Thing.
Yes.
I got you. Okay, that's a good question. Shit.
So
Jamie,
I mean,
you
I
go
know
first.
what your
Yeah.
I figured I would know what yours was going to be, but if not, I can use that. But I also have another one in the chamber.
Nick, you go ahead first.
Well, I was going to say if Seamus wasn't going to pick it, I mean, Season of the Witch.
Yeah, but see, all right. So I would have used that as my answer. My reason being that I wouldn't is because we've seen. I know this isn't.
Yeah.
It's not Michael Myers. But I wasn't sure if the question was more like a property we haven't seen at all. But then I guess if he's saying The Thing, I guess you could. Yeah, I mean, Season of the Witch, I think is the easy answer.
Like a classic, like a cult classic, I would assume.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense. It definitely Season of the Witch. Like that one's easy. I think that's the easy answer. But I'm trying to think like if there's one that, like
another one that I think that would be really, really good. I'd love to see a Candyman house.
Candyman would be really
good
fun.
one.
That'd be fun because you could get to play with like the outside apartments at Cabrini Greens, and you can get a lot of cool mirror tricks and
Definitely.
the sound effects of the bees. You could do some Sif like that.
Have they done a Hellraiser house before?
They have not.
Yeah, Hellraiser would be another one. I think I would say, and obviously, I mean, the problem with that house is like it would be more about the Cenobites and their version of hell rather than like a lot of what that movie's about, which is like weird bondage and sex and shit. Where the movie is very little about the Cenobites, but I think you'd have to kind of do that house just totally all about the Cenobites. But yeah, I don't know, Jamie. Do you have any other ones that you would bring up?
I do. I knew it immediately. This is a really good question. I love questions like this because they're really fun. But the movie I would definitely pick would be The Lost Boys to be as a house. One of my favorite movies. I think it could translate really well into a house. It'd be super cool, kind of like how they did with Us, how they had the boardwalk effect when you walked in. I could see it now, but yeah.
The Lost Boys is a really good movie. I got one other one before we move on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Have they done Children of the Corn?
No, they have not.
No.
Because that would be another one that I would be totally down for. Because children are scary as fuck. Even just normal, regular, everyday children, still scary as hell.
Yeah.
So if you did like just scary kids in corn stalks and stuff like that house would blow me away if they ever
You would
did
have
that,
really
so.
enjoyed The School. The School was very similar to like Children of the Corn.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned it before. It's very similar, so I'm sure I would. I'm surprised you didn't say Jeepers. I mean, it's not a classic, I guess. It's a contemporary classic, but Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, sadly, I never like bringing that up because it's kind of controversial with the director being a weirdo and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I guess
but
that kind of ruins it.
It's unfortunate because that is a really good movie. It's just unfortunate that he's shitty.
And your boy's in it.
And Justin Long, love him.
Justin Long's the man, dude.
I'm your biggest fan ever.
Justin, come on. We know you're a fan. Hit us up, dude. Hit us up. We'll have you on the podcast. We'll talk to you. Jamie will probably cry the whole time. Whatever is what it is.
No, I'd be very professional. I'd set up some questions for him. Don't worry.
I'll cue up this last one for us.
All right.
I mean, come on. We have at least
Hey
have
guys,
one.
this is Lauren, and I was just calling in to give my thoughts on this year's event. So I'm super excited. I would say my top 3 houses for hype would be Yeti, Campground Hills, at number 3. I absolutely love the Yeti houses. They're always some of my favorites. And number 2, I'm going to go with Stranger Things 4. I loved that season. Vecna is a great villain. I can't wait to see what they do with the house. I think the scenes are going to just be awesome. I hope they really blow our expectations out of the water with it. And number 1 is Dueling Dragons. I have a special place for this ride in my heart. I was 13 years old celebrating my birthday at the grand opening of Islands of Adventure way back when, and this ride has always been special.
Oh, that's awesome.
Miss it. And so I'm just thrilled to see what they'll do with a house for Dueling Dragons. So I can't wait. I think it's going to be epic. So I really hope it's great. Also excited for all the good food that's coming. I love a good pizza fry dish, and ready to try out the new things. It looks like they got some cool stuff coming. So we will see. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks. Looking forward to the next episode. Bye-bye.
There you go, Seamus.
Listen.
That's who you're stepping on. You're ruining Lauren's childhood.
Listen here, Lauren. Listen here,
Crusher
Lauren.
of dreams,
Listen.
you.
I was
Seamus.
hoping we would get to this entire episode without hearing about that friggin' house. I'm just kidding. Lauren, I think that's great. I don't want to don't ever take anything I say as serious. A lot of what I say is just to ruffle some feathers. I'm still not on board, so you're never going to convince me that this house is going to be good in any way, shape, or form. But I am happy that the people are actually really excited about it. I think that's cool because I knew there are people out there that are are here for it. It's so out of left field that I feel like it's taken a lot of people by surprise. But I totally understand. I totally get where that comes from. There's a retro, brings back memories. There's a whole lot of reasons why it's going to be up there in a lot of people's lists. So I totally have, total respect for that. So super excited. I was about to say we haven't gotten a single call about dragons, and you proved me wrong. But yeah, still going to hate it though. Still going to hate it, I think.
But again, I mean, that goes right back to our point that we've been making this entire time. Everyone's kind of favorite house that we've heard of is, Yeti's kind of sprinkled in there, but we've gotten Dragons, we've gotten Darkest Steel, we've gotten Oddfellow, we've gotten Stranger Things. It's just such a wide variety that people can enjoy.
It's pretty much solidified what we've been saying, that Stranger Things is going to be the big IP. Everybody's pumped about Stranger Things. I'm sure there's people out there that are like, oh my God, we're doing this again. But I think for a lot of people, the show still resonates with them. It's still a very popular show, regardless of what some cats may think. I think that it is that house. That's the reason a lot of people are going to come to the event. So I think a lot of people agree on that. But then at the same time, the IPs do what they always do, where everybody has their favorite. Like there's that one IP that everybody is super pumped for and super on board with. And I think that this year there's no shortage of really good IP. We've had a couple calls about Yeti, so I'm actually kind of surprised that Yeti's getting as much hype as it is. I know it's going to be a fun house. It's going to be that campy, like 80s, 70s, 80s horror goodness. But just being that it's another Yeti house, I felt like some people would kind of be like, I'm not too sure about it. I mean, do we really need to do this again? But so far I'm being proven wrong. I think a lot of people are really on board with it, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. So
me too.
I will back up those that are that are excited for it. Because I'm still kind of formulating in my head like what I think my most hyped most hyped original is going to be. But everyone's giving me some things to chew on and think about, except for Dragon. Sorry, Lauren.
But yeah, I mean, we're looking at a pretty great event this year. It definitely started out a little rocky and kind of smoothed itself out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm excited. I can't wait. 2 weeks left. We are almost there. We're going to start recording our giant Podathon, so it's only going to get me more and more excited. But that's what we're working with. So thank you all for calling in. You filled up an entire episode. That's why I was trying to get into the end of things. I was like, all right, we got space for maybe one more, because I wasn't originally planning on hitting the hour mark. I was like, all right, we're going to save a lot of our stuff for the next coming weeks and stuff like that. But
when in doubt,
filled up an
hour
episode.
Out.
Yep. Always. So you can call in 689-244-0956. You can call in. I don't know if we will respond to call-ins maybe until after the event, just because our next episodes are going to be very
rapid fire.
The point. Yeah, it's very rapid fire. They might be a little bit shorter, but we're stretching.
If we get a bunch of calls between you listening to this on Friday and us recording those, maybe we'll throw a couple in. But yeah, I mean, the magic is that we record a lot of these at the same time for this week, because it's a lot of work.
Just get together and just record for hours until we fill up our calendar.
So there's a good chance that you call after we've recorded the episodes. But hey, you never know. So, but yeah, definitely call them. We like to hear from you guys. This has been really, really cool. I like that Nick thought about doing this.
I was gonna say it's a really good idea.
Well,
I didn't think
I had no.
I did take it from 365 does call-ins, and I was like, what?
I didn't know
try
that.
and figure out how to do this.
Gotcha. Well, thank you 365 for the idea.
Yeah, I was like, let's see what we got. So very fun. I guess before we completely wrap up, horror movie of the week. We'll do horror movie of the week, and then we'll do our wrap up. So we went to the movies last night and saw Talk to Me, that new A24 film.
That we did.
Heard good things.
Yeah,
Jamie, what do you think?
Well,
am I wrong?
You heard good things.
Well, am I wrong? I haven't seen it yet.
I enjoyed it. I think we lost it. I did enjoy it. It's very creepy, but I don't think it's really scary. There's not a lot of like, it's tense, and you do get. It's like some YouTubers.
Yeah, isn't this movie that was made by like YouTubers or TikTokers or some shit?
Yeah, and it was actually like for what it is in their background, it's really, really good.
Correct, and I think that's kind of. I mean, I will say I hate when movies are marketed like that. Like, oh, it's made by so and so and so and so who are big YouTube people. It's like, to me, it feels like you're cheapening it. Like, why can't we just say it's a movie and this is who directed it, and it's just another decent low budget horror flick that A24 or Blumhouse or whoever else picked it up, and it's going to get a wider distribution than they would have otherwise.
Yeah, because I would assume, but I'd probably just to let their fans know too, because even like I still watch WWE and they pretty much still call Logan Paul like a famous YouTuber. So it's kind of just like, all right, just so you don't forget, this is where they're from. But yeah, it does cheapen it a little bit.
I'm talking about like good YouTubers. Sorry, but for all the Logan Paul fans that listen to us,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I didn't view it as like scary. It's more creepy. Pretty original story. I really liked it. It kind of took a couple twists and turns. It wasn't super, super unpredictable, but I still had a very good time, and it was in and out. A quick little hour and a half movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't drag.
I've heard good things, so I'm gonna check it out at some point. I mean, obviously the movies are hard for me to swing at this point, but whenever it's sorry, Jamie, go ahead. How did you feel about this movie?
No, it's okay. I was just letting you know I was back. Honestly, I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. I was kind of disappointed. I honestly came out and Nick was like, so what'd you think? And I was like, I really didn't like it that much. I don't know. I just feel like A24 is either very hit or miss with their movies. Yeah. And I feel like maybe after I watch this more than once and maybe not watching it, I feel like I get a better experience watching it at home than I do in the theater. I feel like I get really distracted easily in the theater. So it's kind of hard for me to focus sometimes. But it was a little predictable. The acting, I really enjoyed actually.
But yeah, so we'll move along from talk to me, and when Jamie pops back in, she can kind of give her closing thoughts. But did you see anything this week at all? Or
I have. But before I do that, I do. I mean, I think she was making a pretty good point. A24 and Blumhouse, in a lot of ways, they run into the issue of being known for something, and if what they've released isn't quite up to what they're known for, it can hurt them a little bit. So I think that this is something that movies like this might suffer from just a little bit, is that like, hey, you expect something from A24, and if you don't quite get that, it can feel kind of disappointing. I think that's kind of where that problem comes from. And they release really weird movies too that I generally like. So I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised that you liked it more than I would have expected, because I think A24 and you don't exactly have a great working relationship.
No,
just because you don't typically like a lot of their movies, but I'm definitely more interested in seeing it now that I know you liked it. So yeah. I just remember we didn't try to answer the other question from Mike from New England. He was asking about like what do we miss the most in New England. We completely missed that or skipped that part of this question.
I mean, if the question was brewery, Wachusett.
Yeah, mine would be Treehouse if it's brewery. If it's haunt, like haunted attraction, it would be Spooky World still. I think they still do it up at Litchfield. So that would be the haunt that I miss the most. And then if it's something else I miss going to Pats games. Go Pats. So movie, I did. I actually watched Scream 6 for the first time this week. I finally decided to sit down and bite the bullet and watch it, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I liked it.
Oh, nice.
It was. I mean, it is exactly what I wanted from a Scream movie. Probably more so than I got from the last couple of them. I didn't hate Scream 5, the one before this one. Just wasn't wild about it. This one is exactly what I wanted from Scream 5. And it's better than Scream 3. It's better than Scream 4.
I love Scream 3.
I know you do. Obviously not quite as good as 1 and 2, but I was surprised by how brutal it was. It was a really brutal movie for what it is. They didn't hold back on this one, which I guess for some people maybe they didn't like that, but I thought it was a bold choice, and it worked. And it was one of those movies where it's like everything you expected it not to do, it did. So it was really like it was different. And what I mean by that is like, let's take the bodega scene for example, without going into too much detail. Like that scene, when it hit that point, I'm like, we're 35 minutes into this movie and it's already like off the fucking rails. I am here for this. So yeah, I really dug it. Everyone who died, I expected to die in it at some point. Yeah, I think it was good. It was a solid Scream movie. It's exactly what you ask for when you're talking about Ghostface and you're talking about what's your favorite scary movie. Like that's exactly what you want from it. A little predictable in some parts, but I mean, what do you expect with a slasher movie that's going on 20 years? You know?
Yeah, you can only do so much. Jamie, what were your last thoughts on the acting of the Talk to Me?
Yeah, you were cutting out.
I thought so. Sorry, guys. Literally, the last episode we had no interruptions. Everything was fine. So I knew this week it would be a little messed
It
up.
happens. Hey,
but I was saying
happens.
I really enjoyed the acting. Actually, I really liked. I don't know how to explain. I just feel like it was very laid back acting. If that's a good way to explain it, I feel like it was very natural, and they were all Australian, so I really liked their accents. Some of it was hard to understand because some of their accents were so thick at points, but I did really enjoy that aspect. It was a little predictable. Like I was saying with A24, I feel like it's very hit or miss with some of their movies. I feel like some of them I really, really love, and I feel like this one, maybe if I watch it at home and watch it again, I'll be able to enjoy it a little bit more. But it just didn't really hit that like horror-y kind of aspect for me. I guess I was just hoping it'd be a little bit scarier.
Yeah,
I hear you.
All right, so let's wrap this thing up. We still have our contest going.
Yes, we do.
I think on the poster I put till the 21st, which would be the Monday, but I think the entries will kind of cut off on Sunday. So if you are listening and you have not entered yet, do so. Go to our Instagram or our Twitter.
Yep.
You can win a Unmasking the Horror tour with us. Little 3-house unmasking the horror, daytime, lights on, super, super fun. So go to our Instagram or Twitter.
Which 3 houses are they, just so everybody knows?
So I think this one is Dr. Oddfellows, I think it's Last of Us, and I think The Darkest Deal.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty sure those are the 3 for that
so
tour.
It's a nice, it's a sick lights on tour. You learn a ton of information about the houses. The tour guides are really, really cool, and they make it really fun too. So it's definitely worth the experience if you haven't done it before. Plus, you get to hang out with us 3 fools. So why else wouldn't you want to come with it? Come to it.
So enter that contest. That is going to be drawn. We'll probably draw them on Sunday because we're going to start recording for our Podathon, which we are going to kick off next Friday. I will drop the entire schedule of what we are talking about and when earlier in the week, and we will bring you all the way. Those last 7 days, bring you right up to that event. So I think that about wraps it up. Well, until next time, which is going to be next Friday, kicking off our 1 week until Halloween Horror Nights Podathon. This is Nick.
This is the Dragon Master himself, Seamus.
This is Jamie.
Happy Dragons.
It's cursed. It's got a death curse.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare,
And again, I would just like to thank Vampire Stepdad for letting us use his music for our intro and outro music. So if you would, just go check him out. Spotify, Facebook. Again, that is Vampire Stepdad.